I'm traveling along the world's longest river, the Nile, 4,000 miles from sea to source. It's the most remarkable journey I've ever made.
Look how wide it is. It's a huge river.
My adventure started 2 weeks ago in Egypt.
Hello, darling. Hello, sweetheart.
I followed in the footsteps of Agatha Christie.
We think that's the winner.
Marvelled at the beauty of this mighty river.
It's pretty unspoiled, isn't it?
And heard tales of spirits hiding in the depths.
I'll come and sort that demon out for you.
But I'm less than a quarter of the way through my journey. I still have 4 more countries to go. All in my quest to reach the source of the Nile.
Here we are. Oh my gosh!
It's late afternoon. I've just boarded the weekly ferry that's taking me from Egypt into Sudan, across Lake Nasser.
When I was a child, we used to travel across the world like this on ships all the time. The army traveled by ship. You didn't fly in those days. We used to lean on the rails like this and just look at the waves turning white like this. The sea, I can remember being dark blue. I remember my mother putting out her hand and she had a sapphire engagement ring, and she said, the sea is the color of sapphires, and I then knew what the color of sapphires were.
Lake Nasser was created when a huge dam was built across the River Nile at Aswan. At just over 300 miles long, it's the world's largest man-made lake.
It's colossal to think one river has made this.
My journey along the Nile began 2 weeks ago in Alexandria. I've already travelled 700 miles to Aswan, where I joined the ferry to take me across Lake Nasser. Once in Sudan, I'll be following the river to Khartoum, Sudan's capital, where the Nile is joined by the Blue Nile. Here, I'll take a new direction, following the river into the highlands of Ethiopia. I'll then rejoin the Nile in war-torn southern Sudan, continuing south through Uganda, across Lake Victoria, and pushing on into Rwanda, where my journey on the world's longest river will come to an end. It's going to take me 18 hours to get to the Sudanese border, so plenty of time for dinner.
I see you in the film before.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Was maybe
Maybe on television or something like
Television.
that. Maybe television.
yeah. No, James Bond.
Egyptian?
James Bond. Bond.
James Bond?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You.
On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
I remember.
Yeah. That's wonderful.
Okay.
That's wonderful. I'm a Bond girl. Gosh, I didn't think I'd be recognized as a Bond girl on a ferry.
Here below deck, in a sweltering 40-degree heat, Sudanese workers are travelling home after working overseas from as far away as China and Dubai.
I don't know how to say not meat. I've got some eggs. It's lovely. Thank you. Shukran. Thank you so much. You speak English? Oh, excellent.
My name is Magdi Osman.
Magdi. May I call you Magdi?
Yes, please.
Wonderful. This is delicious food.
Yeah, it's nice. This is local food. We call it in Arabic, fool. The English name, the correct name is for it. I don't want to say it's beans, just beans. Let's say beans. Yeah. And I feel good when I eat it. I don't like meat too much. Yeah.
And you look, if I may say so, a very marvelous man. You look very healthy.
Thank you very much.
This boat may not be state-of-the-art, but it seems to have all the creature comforts.
Oh, that smells wonderful.
That is, until it's time to get ready for bed.
It's not that one's squeamish, but there's something sometimes a bit horrifying about some of the sort of lavatory arrangements. So you can't sort of smell what it's like in here, but it's not brilliant. And actually, if I had my way, I would be in here with gloves and scrubbing. I'd give this a really good scrub. Actually, it's all right. Once you've just got over it, you know, just quite a lot of life is like that. Just get over it and just do it. There we are. Lovely. Ooh. No, fine.
It's so hot downstairs that I want to sleep on deck. Unfortunately, so does everybody else.
Thank you so much. Shukran, thank you.
But with over 500 passengers, it looks like I should have bagged a place earlier.
Maybe this is a little nice corner by these bottles.
Yeah, this place is the best one.
Is this
sleeping here, yeah?
Yeah,
That's the best place.
Is that a good place?
Yeah.
That's wonderful, thank you. I've seen a couple of little friendly cockroaches, but I think they'll be fine because, you know, what's a cockroach between friends? It feels rather odd lying down with everybody else standing up, but there we are. This is me, and it's so warm I wouldn't need anything over me. This is comfortable. The word comfortable didn't sort of spring immediately to the lips, but I thought I'd just say it. I am comfortable. And the great thing is that I can hear the throb of the ship's engine. And I know that just there is the Nile swishing past.
As dawn breaks, we're just 3 hours away from Sudan. But before we get there, Egypt has one last treat for us as its most spectacular ancient monument comes into sight. The Great Temple at Abu Simbel. Abu Simbel is over 3,000 years old. Its centerpiece, carved from solid rock, is 4 colossal seated statues of one of Egypt's greatest rulers, Pharaoh Ramesses II.
I've seen Abu Simbel before. Phenomenal.
In the 1960s, this immense temple was nearly lost forever when this whole area was flooded to make Lake Nasser. But thankfully, over 50 countries came to the rescue. At huge cost, it was cut into over 1,000 pieces. And then rebuilt 200 feet above its original position. A miracle of engineering. Preserving Abu Simbel forever. Finally, we arrive at our destination, the small port of Wadi Halfa. It's difficult to believe that this tiny strip of concrete is the gateway to Sudan, a country the size of Western Europe.
It's quite frantically hot on this quayside. I've just seen our kit is beginning to go around there, so perhaps they're going to make a sort of pile of it over there.
When we think of Sudan, we usually think of a country torn apart by civil war. Though the tribes of Darfur in the west of the country are still fighting, the north is relatively peaceful, which means business as usual for most.
We've just got to clear all this through customs, which is just about to happen, and then we can get properly into the deserts of Sudan.
Gone are the luxuries of Egypt: hotels, hot running water, and comfortable beds. For the next 4 days, we shall be camping under the stars, so we have to carry everything with us. It must be one of the most remote places on Earth. It's very exciting. Leaving Wadi Halfa and the ferry behind us, we head 125 miles south to Wawa, where we're hoping to meet one of the Nile's most feared creatures.
We're making our way down to the river to look for crocodiles. And the Arabic word for crocodile is tomsa. So we're hoping to see a huge tomsa, yes? Mohammed laughing knowingly. But they do grow to the most immense size. I think I'm right in saying also that the Nile crocodile is the most aggressive of all the big crocodiles.
For many of us, the closest we've come to a crocodile is on the silver screen. Tarzan movies, the very stuff of Hollywood adventure. What I didn't know was that to save Jane, Tarzan was wrestling the Nile crocodile, the most dangerous freshwater predator in the world. It can grow to 3 times the length of a man and weigh as much as a small car.
This is a bit mad dogs and Englishmen, but the truth is this is the best time to see crocodiles because this is the time they come out to bask when the sun is at its hottest. So we have to be here. I mean, it is fry egg, hot plate. The river's lovely and cool. It just begs for you to jump in, but crocodiles, I think not.
Local crocodile hunter Abdu Mohammed is helping me find this great reptile.
I've just been staring at the same bit of sand now for a long time.
هنا اهو ضربه هنا في الجزيرة كله.
We're crossing over the river now because Abdu thinks he might have seen one. I've got to say, I'm straining my eyes. Everything I see looks as if it might be a crocodile. I'm sure I can see crocodile footsteps.
هنا في الجزيرة كله نحن ممكن نطلع بجاي نشوف ضربه ذاته.
Abdu, does Abdu want me to go with him?
Abdul,
أيوة.
you want her to go?
Do you want me to come with you?
Yes.
Directly.
Yes?
Yeah, he's happy.
Yes.
He's happy to go with you.
Why was I longing for him to say no? Okay. I'll leave my sandals on so the crocodile's got something to eat. Whoops.
Unfortunately, we've been outsmarted. The crocodiles have gone. But we've only missed them by minutes.
Yes, about here
Yeah.
and here.
And there. Out there, from there, there.
4 kilometers.
4 meters?
4 meters.
4 meters.
4 meters.
It's huge.
Yes.
Can you tell by the footmarks, man or woman crocodile, male or female?
لا ما بتميز بالاقدام، لكن شفتها طبعا انه هو يعني كبير ولا صغير بتميز. الذكر الاكبر، الذكر الاكبر دائما لما يمسك البني ادم بيضغطوا شديد على اساس انهم السلسله ده يتفكفك، السلسله ده يتفكفك. يعني لما يمسك البني ادم دائما بيضغطوا على هنا عشان السلسله ده يتهز سريع والبني ادم ينتهي سريع. يس.
Not us, Abdu, not us. I wish we could see one. Ah!
Sadly, crocodiles are big business in Africa. Every year, sales of their valuable skins fetch over £150 million. Though the crocodile provides a living for some, it's feared by most, and not without reason, as they kill as many as 500 people every year.
And these two holes here are the ones which those are baby teeth, but at the bottom, these immense front incisors fit into the slots up there. So you have this interlocking, which means that if it's grabbed something, it's absolutely welded on. Well, Croc, you met your end.
It was a monster like this that nearly ended the life of local fisherman Hamid Abd El Rasoul.
Hamid, come and show me. Oi! And it...
لفة كده.
He
أيوة لما لفة
yeah. Oh, he's got you like that. And then moving, he's going along. Look, he climbs over onto the top. Like this.
مديت يدي كده لقيت الديل هناك رجعتها كده عملتها كده لما دخلت يدي من هنا ها ضربتها كده رحت ايه راح نطير كده خلاها تقوم بجاي.
Yeah. Gee.
طيب تعال قوم. اوه عاود.
Oh, ow, 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 ow. Sit down.
Hamid took 10 hours to crawl the 5 miles home in agony.
Oh, exhausted, have to rest again. Probably losing quite a lot of blood, too. And then wake up and still this awful bleeding leg for 10 hours. And how long in hospital?
في المستشفى 27 يوم 27 يوم.
Okay for walking?
بمشي عليه لكن الوجع فيها برضه.
Thank you, Hamid. Shukran.
Despite these tales of horror, I still want to see a crocodile. We've been told they're back, so we head to the river for one last look.
Suddenly in the middle of the river, look, 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 that huge thing. Looks like a log, but it's a crocodile. It's difficult to tell over the water how huge it is, but I guess if it looks that big and it's in the middle of the river, it must be at least 18 or 20 feet long.
This animal is extraordinary. It evolved 200 million years ago, and it even outlived the dinosaurs. Pretty impressive.
The truth is, we're not going to see them out of the water today. It's too cool. It's only about 130. Far too cool for a crocodile. Jolly cool for me, actually. Okay, let's go and get some blankets.
In a couple of hours, it'll be dark, so we're heading off into the Nubian desert to find somewhere to put up our tents.
The thing is, we're going into the desert because there are mosquitoes at the banks of the Nile. So it'll be lovely. It'll be exciting to camp bang in the desert. This is really beautiful because we really are in the middle of nowhere. I mean, you've heard of the back of beyond. This is beyond the back of beyond. It's just nowhere. It's fantastically exciting. This is the best campsite on earth for tonight. And the lads are starting already. Ideal. I think I'll walk a little bit slowly, so I just won't be there quite at the beginning. Good, great.
I couldn't be happier. We've 4 drivers, 2 cooks, 1 policeman, and Musab Abidi, our guide and translator. Well, nothing left for me to do.
My case is called rather ambitiously Marco Polo. This is my bed. It's lovely. It's pretty odd to be writing a journal and put at the top of it Nubian desert. I never thought I'd write that in my life. The sun's beginning to go. Everywhere I am in the world, if I can, I try to watch the sun going down. Where we live in Scotland, we watch the sun going down every night. We can't bear to miss the sun going. Dear diary, give everything away and camp. I didn't write that because it's not true.
On the menu tonight is Nile tilapia, but as I'm vegetarian, they've kindly prepared me some beans and chips.
Isn't this lovely? Look, this is the flashy torch which does all that, which is exciting. So when you're lighting your candles, your cigarette, everything, this just goes on and on. And then, when it's stopped, shine the other end, and you think it's a torch, but actually there's this beautiful little picture of a beautiful girl. Look at that, found it in the market today. She's got a lovely bracelet and a sweet little face. And it's obviously a men's item, but isn't that charming and modest? Not like one of those barrows and you touch it up the other way and all her clothes come off. This is just a charming, darling girl. Isn't that lovely? She's my new friend, my tent friend. You see what living in the desert can do to your brain. Good night.
We're heading south to the ancient and sacred town of Karima, once the heart of the great kingdom called Nubia. Today, Karima is a market town, a staging post for those travelling across the desert to Khartoum. I found out that most people here think of themselves as Nubian, identifying with a culture which stretches back over 5,000 years. We know little of this great civilization. But just outside the town, there's evidence of a chapter of history that is largely untold. The story of the Black Pharaohs.
One of the most extraordinary things I've discovered on this trip is that the great pharaohs of Egypt didn't all come from Egypt. In fact, the last burst of fabulous Egyptology that we know, the ancient Egyptians, were in fact Nubians. It's unbelievable. There are more than twice as many pyramids here in the Sudan as there are in Egypt. But it was here. This was the seat of power.
The Black Pharaohs of Nubia took control of a huge empire called the Kingdom of Kush that stretched south from here and all the way north through ancient Egypt to the Mediterranean. They moved their capital here, where the temple of Amun lies in the shadow of the sacred mountain Jebel Barkal, also known as the Pure Mountain. They believed this mountain was the home of the greatest of all gods, Amun, the god of kingship.
Whoops. Sandy, sandy.
Every Friday, the Muslim holy day, people flock to climb its perilous slopes to watch the sunset over the Nile. Abdul Majid Omar has been climbing the Jebel ever since he could walk. If anyone knows the best way up, he does.
Look at this. Look at this. It's the River Nile. It's fantastic.
Very good.
It's so beautiful.
Very good. Very good. This is the top. This is the top of the hill.
Yes. Ah, Yaman al-Barka, Holy Mountain. Holy Mountain. Abdul, look at this. Isn't it fantastic? Am I right in thinking that when the Nile is full, it comes right up to the edge of this green?
Yes, 1988, the Nile flood till just at the feet of Jebel Barkal.
Yes, here.
Right up to here.
This water.
So this is all the old temple. Oh, how wonderful.
Yes.
Well, don't go too close. I get terrible vertigo.
إنه الناس مما نشأت الناس ما قامت الجبل موجود في الناس في أعيادها في حياتها في ترفيهها في كده عشان كده الارتباط بقى وثيق شديد بين الجبل وبين المواطن في المنطقة يعني.
How old will you be when you can hardly get up? Will you still come up there?
لحد عمر كم انت حتواصل وتصير لانك تيجي تطلع جبل البركل؟
انا يعني بواصل لحد عمر متقدم. انا الان حوالي يعني 60 سنه والحمد لله بطلع الجبل وحاظل اواصل كده عشان الواحد يحافظ على لياقته ويحافظ على طاقته وكده فان شاء الله حواصل يعني ما تبقى من عمر.
Never stop. Very good.
لا The sun is
It's just beautiful.
It's very good now.
Shems.
Yes, Shems.
The sun is called Shems. And something which is rather lovely is that my son, my own son, as opposed to this son, when we were trekking in Hunza, they couldn't say James, so they called him Shems. So my son is called Shems, and the son here is called Shems. And today is my son's birthday, so the whole thing is completely perfect. What a day to be on the Holy Mountain.
The next morning we're up early as our translator, our dragoman, Musab, has told me of an extraordinary and rarely seen burial site 5 miles from town.
I think a tourist to Sudan could be forgiven for missing out on the next great treat. It's like Sudan's hidden secrets. It's this extraordinarily important couple of tombs that still remain. All the rest have disappeared. They used to be under pyramids. Now they're just tombs, but they've got fabulous things inside, I think. I can't wait to see them. This is a little local graveyard. This is how people are buried today, not like the pharaohs. Just a small stone at your head and foot. Mosque in the background. It's rather simple and lovely.
This is the cemetery of El Kuru. Here the black pharaohs were buried over 2,500 years ago. However, many graves have since been ransacked by tomb raiders.
How did they dig into the pyramids?
They start the people looking at for the treasures on the top of the pyramids.
Yes.
And then they digged all the pyramid and they found the top of the tomb. like this here, if you can see.
Yes.
They open it from the top.
And they found they were in the burial chamber.
Yes. They discovered that there is a door bringing to outside.
So then they started
They start to dig in a correct way.
Despite the vandalism, the most impressive tomb is that of Queen Kalhata, mother of the last Nubian pharaoh.
Staircase.
Careful.
The great big step. So this ceiling is very beautiful and blue. And here, Musab, is this where the body would have been put down, on here?
Yes, so here it should be in this point, exactly.
Can we go onto it? Can we step on it now? And this is the picture of her body lying, as it would be,
Yes.
wrapped in her funeral clothes.
Yes, and she's dying. You see here the bed, the shape of the lion,
Yes.
and all the tools of the war under, because our queens, they were a warrior queen.
Right. So these are weapons.
Yeah, yes.
Daggers,
Arrow.
spears, arrows. The Nubians were good with arrows, weren't they?
Yes.
They were great archers, I think.
Are famous of this.
Yes. How fantastic. Look at that bow. That's wonderful. But here, on this side, now this is wonderful. I'm going to get down and look at this because she's turned around. She seems to have come back to life.
Yes, after smelling Ankh.
After smelling the Ankh, so that's the key of life there, with the crisscross and that loop there. He's giving it to her to smell. Here's the god. And here she's woken and turned around, and she's lying up on her stomach, feeling better already. Only 1,000 people a year come here. It's not very many, is it? I hope it stays like this. I'd hate it to get any grander. I'd hate it that we couldn't film or stand up close to the walls. I'd hate it that we didn't have Ali with his key to unlock it. I'd hate it that the steps would get worn down. But I wouldn't hate it to be a little bit cooler.
Karima, a town full of echoes of the ancient past, from its holy mountain right down to the banks of the Nile. These old boats are a stark reminder of a more recent age, when the river was used to transport goods, animals and people along its banks. Now it seems the river looks empty, unused, almost forgotten. But for the locals, the Nile hasn't lost its spiritual power. Nowhere is this more apparent than at a Nubian wedding.
The river Nile. I think some sort of ceremony goes on there. And I said to them, Mabro, which means congratulations.
Muslim men are allowed 4 wives, but Huwaida is Mohammed's one and only bride. And this isn't an arranged marriage. They chose each other. To bring the couple a long and happy marriage, the guests make an offering of dates and wheat to the River Nile. Is blessed with water from the Nile. This is the final ceremony of their marriage celebrations that have lasted 7 days.
And sort of doing that is a kind of blessing, because I did that to the bridegroom and he looked very pleased. And all the women were urging me to clap. They were going, come on, clap, get in with it. So a lot of that was going on.
Saying goodbye to Karima, we're taking a shortcut across the Bayuda Desert. Then we'll rejoin the river, which will take us into the capital of Sudan, Khartoum. Halfway point of my journey along the Nile. I've always been fascinated by this tough race of people, the pastoralists, who live a nomadic existence in these harsh deserts. Around 10% of Sudan's 40 million people follow a way of life that hasn't changed for centuries. The Hassania tribe moved here from Egypt 1,000 years ago.
Salam alaikum. Salam. Salam.
4 generations of the Hassan family have come to say hello.
Thank you.
Here.
Shukran. Thank you. Salam. Salam. How lovely. This is a beautiful bowl of yogurt I've just been offered, which is delicious. So very delicious.
Shukran.
It's lovely. Hello, salam, little one. Hello, baby. Hello, salam. Hello, little one. Salam. Salam.
Them is the able. She's asking about your name.
My name is Joanna.
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 This place is so remote that some of the older people may not have seen an English person since the British occupation of Sudan, which ended 50 years ago.
Oh, this is wonderful in here. This is so lovely. May I sit here? May I sit here? When she was as young as this.
When they saw the English, they were.
And this is yogurt being made in a goat skin, like that. I'm not sure if I meant to bump that stem. Pass the job over to me.
Eventually, great-grandmother Medina became too old to travel, so the family decided to settle here, where they've been for 22 years. However, as head of a family of 10, Mohammed continues a semi-nomadic life, breeding livestock and transporting salt by camel, nearly 200 miles across the desert to Khartoum.
Tell me why you prefer to live in the open spaces, in the fresh air, rather than in a city with buildings and roads.
مدينة جيب مرض دي ندي أولادنا المدرسة يقروا لكن نحن لا نعيش برا هنا خلا هوا كويس هوا نغي في جسمك ده كويس بهايم تعيش سمح مرض ما في بعوض وما في حاجة ما في أنفس في بعض أنفس ما في يعني زول واحد زولين القرية على الجنب ديك تجيني زول واحد يومين 10 يوم ما أشوفه.
I love this way of life.
بتحب حياتكم دي ذات.
بتحب حياتنا.
أيوة.
It's just fantastic. And I understand them absolutely longing to be in the open air and have eye-stretching views like this, with the wind blowing through rather than in a hot town with fumes of petrol and busy people all the time. And it's a hard life. It's a hard life, but you're free. You're free.
Though this freedom comes at a price. To get water, Mohammed must travel 10 miles to the nearest well, and most people in Sudan have less than £1 a day to live on.
I think you could live like this in a kind of romantic dream, but I suppose in the end you go back to your curtains closed and your keys clinking, and I'm not sure we've got it right, though, you know? I mean, we might not want to live as simply as this, but I'm not sure we've got it right in the Western world. No, it's a twig for me, twig house for me. Right. Twig house. Let's try that in London, see if I moved on.
We push on, towards the Nile, and then Khartoum, which lies a 2-day drive ahead of us. Unfortunately, the desert has other ideas.
Oh, Mohammed!
We are stuck miles from anywhere, but thankfully, we're not alone.
Charming people just materialise out of nowhere. It seems to be empty, and it's actually quite full of people. Do you think we should bounce it? Do you think if you bounce it, does that sometimes help you get out of it? Good. Tamam. Shukran. We're driving southeast across the desert to Khartoum. We'll have to stop for the night before we get there because it's a long drive. It's really exciting, isn't it? Oh, look, the cars. Well, bye.
So, on to Khartoum, where my journey takes a new direction. There, our great river is joined by the Blue Nile, and I'll follow it into the highlands of Ethiopia.